So then, a few weeks back, I made a video of ways to optimize your day at Alton Towers. Now, I was thinking the other day, a video which I think would be a lot more useful if I were to watch it myself would be things that I would recommend not doing. I thought it's a lot easier to follow something that I'd recommend not doing rather than specific things to do. I think that's a little bit more difficult to follow. On that note though, I do have to say, just like I did in the other video, the things to do at a theme park, in my opinion, that this is opinion. So I might say that I don't recommend doing this and you may disagree completely. On top of that, if you have things that I haven't mentioned in this video and you think are really helpful bits of information that would really help someone who didn't know it, please do put in the comments of things that you would recommend not doing when visiting Alton Towers. If you are an enthusiast and go to theme parks quite a lot, you'll probably know about a lot of these things by trial and error from your own visits, but this video is just there as either in case you didn't know, or for people who don't know, who aren't as frequent theme park visitors maybe, or are more new to the community, so please do bear that in mind. So then, first up, I would recommend strongly against getting to Alton Towers for opening. So don't get to Alton Towers for 10 o'clock. I would either recommend getting there before by half an hour, maybe get there for 9:30 or 9, or get there after the surge of people going in at 10, for the exact reason of people see on the app or whenever they're booking it opens at 10, they show up for 10 on the dot. Something which is really helpful is they do usually start letting you in. I've been let in as early as 9:30. I think I've heard someone saying it was at 9. I'm not sure on that one, but they do let people start going in through the turnstiles a little bit before park open. The rides won't open till 10 when park open is, obviously, but it means you're inside the park, you're not doing the waiting outside. If you get there for 10, the queue for security is going to be a significant amount longer, like a lot longer. Then you've got a queue for the turnstiles and get through. I know it's a very small period of time, but anything to save you that extra half hour I think is worth it when visiting Towers, because it is a very big theme park and you need all the time you can get to get on as many attractions as possible. Second up sort of ties into the second you get through those turnstiles, and it is to the rides that you go to. Firstly, I want to put reasoning behind psychology of entering a theme park. 90% of visitors are most likely to go to rides that are close to the entrance. So instantly Wicker Man, I would recommend so heavily against, because earlier today we were there for park open, and by the time we got to the end of Towers Street, I think it was on a 50-minute queue, which that was straight after park open, because everyone goes straight for it because it's so close. The same thing applies for the Smiler and Oblivion. Less Oblivion. Oblivion's actually really good at handling guest throughputs. I think it's actually the highest guest throughput at Alton Towers, but definitely do not go to the Smiler, in my opinion, because from experience of going, they are very quick to build queues and they'll retain it through the day. So you're better off leaving those as your rides to do after you've been on rides that you should get done when they've got short queues, like 13, Rita, Galactica, if you get over there quick, because that's the only coaster holding that end of the park sort of up. Now then, after you've thought of what rides to go on, I would also recommend considering what you're going to do for eating that day. Now, this sounds really odd, but something I've noticed from visiting theme parks quite frequently is the food is incredibly expensive. It's that stereotype of theme park food is very expensive. Now, if that's something you want to do and go for the theme park food, like, I won't deny that when it's something like Mardi Gras at Alton Towers, I do actually deliberately get food in parks. They've got different food offerings and it's a different type of food, and that is worth going for. But if it's normal food offering and you don't want to spend the money that coincides with that, I would recommend en route going into a shop and getting a meal deal. They let you take food into Merlin parks, which is such a helpful thing to have. It means that A, you're not having to queue to get food from one of the restaurants or cafes on park, and B, you're spending $3.50 in regards to instead paying, I think, what, 10 quid at least per thing at a theme park. Next up, one thing which I think makes a big difference in terms of how you structure your day is at the end of the day at Towers trading is incredibly busy. 90% of the guests who go in there go for park close, and it makes a big difference. This is time which I personally prefer to spend going on rides. I said in the last video, which was ways to optimize your day at Towers, that the queues close with the park, not the rides. I think this time, where you would be queuing to get into the shop, you're better off going on rides. Something that I do when I visit is go to the shop just after lunch, maybe when you're passing around that area, because A, it's quieter and it's nicer to be in, and it means that you're not using that time at the end of the day when it's going to be way busier and most of the people in the park are going there. Yeah, I'd rather spend the time doing re-rides than queuing for the shop. Lastly, something which can vary with who you're going with, but something that I like to, just when I'm going with a few mates, before we go into the park, instead of taking multiple bags, if it's only a few things that you've got, food and maybe a portable charger for each of your phones, see if it can go in one bag instead of each of you having your own backpack, because A, at security you've got to have all of your bags checked, and B, when you're going on either rides like the Smiler or Wicker Man where you've got baggage holds, you've all got to queue for baggage holds, or on rides where you've got the cubby holes in the station, you've all got to go and put them in the cubby holes, then all go back to the train. It's something which, in terms of the stress, it can be a lot easier. It means that you're a lot less rushed. It also means that you can alternate who's carrying the bag. It means that it'll hurt your shoulders a bit less. Collectively, you could alternate who's carrying it. It's something that it's just a lot easier. So then, thank you for watching. I know this sort of coincides with ways to optimise your day at Alton Towers. I just thought this would be a good video to make because it can actually be easier to know what not to do than what to do. It sets a sort of different video type. If you have anything that you would recommend avoiding when visiting the park that I haven't mentioned in this video, please do put it in the comments. I'd love to see it because I'll probably use it as well, and I think it could really help people to see what not to do. So yeah, please do put what you think is best to avoid doing when visiting towers in the comments. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.